Hey everyone, welcome to the stream. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe and everybody give me that thumbs up like as we get started here. And if you're new, my name is Brian Craig, and I think you'll enjoy my channel. I upload new content 7 days a week, live streaming here, plus my podcast and other things I upload here. We're going to talk about a lot of things on the stream this morning. How does everyone like the clock change? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I tell you, this clock change, why does it have to change? It just throws everything off. It's not as bad as it used to be because today, most of us use our phones as our clock and they automatically change. So I don't have to run around the house changing everything. But when I woke up today, it was 4:30 in the morning, which my body thought it was 3:30 in the morning. It's just a mess. Just a mess. All right, well, let's just jump right into it. Bill Maher, this is a very interesting thing about Bill Maher that's going on here. And, it's the title of the video and it's in the thumbnail. But Bill Maher says it's worth asking why Putin didn't invade Ukraine under Donald Trump. And I want to go through this, and we'll talk about it. But this is what is absolutely very interesting and fascinating about Bill Maher. Bill Maher, don't think he's gone MAGA. All right, he's not a Republican. He's not MAGA. He's not a Trump guy. He's an old-fashioned, old liberal Democrat, and he seems to kind of sound like a conservative a lot, doesn't he, when he's talking about these issues like Ukraine and everything. And the reason that he sounds so conservative, sounds MAGA, is because the Democrat Party has been taken over by these left-wing radical lunatics like AOC plus 3, right? The squad, and you know what's going on. You know how wackadoodle they are. And the Democrat Party, believe me, Bill Maher is no Republican, except probably when it comes to lower taxes, right? Because he's a rich guy. He donated $1 million of his own money to Barack Obama's reelection campaign. Remember that? Of his own money. He didn't do a fundraiser and raise $1 million, his own money. So this guy, he's a lifelong Democrat, and he always will be. But the Democrat Party has gotten so out of control, so radical, so just filled with lunatics that he just can't sit around and defend that anymore. And, I'll tell you another thing, too. He's really disgusted a lot by the media. He's the bias in the media, the fake news media have gotten so biased in their activism, in their reporting, that even a lifelong Democrat like Bill Maher just can't take it anymore. I mean, he just can't take it anymore. By the way, give me a 1 in the chat room if you watched the Trump rally last night in South Carolina. Oh, my gosh, that was a great rally. We'll talk about that, too. It was a great rally. So Bill Maher, he says, it's worth asking why Putin didn't invade Ukraine under Donald Trump. And it is worth asking. And this, I'm so happy that this dialogue has begun. Bill Maher shared some interesting thoughts Friday night about Russia invading Ukraine. Right now, war continues to rage in Ukraine. This is in the, what am I reading from here? This is the Daily Caller. The Daily Caller. Right now, war continues to rage in Ukraine as the government and citizens fight like dogs to repel Putin's forces hammering the country. While it's probably not the time for a political debate, plenty of people have argued about why Putin didn't invade under Donald Trump, given the narrative many pushed that the 45th president, that's President Trump, was friendly to Russia or even a Russian asset. Right? Yeah, even a Russian asset. So, they're exactly. So if you've got someone you've got blackmail material on, you're Putin, President of the United States, you got blackmail material on him, you can embarrass him, you can troll him. Wouldn't you take an action like this during the time when you could predict what was the reaction of the United States 100% because you had control over the president, of course? Well, Bill Maher thinks people should actually be asking why Putin waited for Joe Biden to be POTUS to invade if the Russia narrative was true. And this is what he says. If Putin thought Trump was really that supportive of him, why didn't he invade when Trump was in office? It's at least worth asking that question if you're not locked into one intransigent thought, Bill Maher said Friday night when talking about the war in Ukraine. He also took shots at both sides of the aisle for making the war about them instead of the reality on the ground. And there's the video here. Once again, Bill Maher seems to be the most refreshing voice in the room. This with Bill Maher, this is one of the reasons the Democrats overall are in a lot of trouble, because they are losing their base. They're losing their base. And, what the Democrats as a group, liberals have a problem in general prior to all this stuff that's going on now. Democrats, liberals have a problem with boundaries. And once they win a victory, they push. Like for many, many years, for decades, they were pushing for gay rights and gay marriage, okay? And then that was all accomplished. So now we've got 86 genders or whatever that's going on. You know what I mean? So they push too far. And that's and by doing that, they're alienating people in their base. And you know what? They've alienated more people than are vocal about it, because a lot of people aren't like Bill Maher. They feel like Bill Maher. There are a lot of Democrats that feel just like Bill Maher, but they're afraid to vocalize it because they don't want to be labeled something, but they keep it to themselves. So the Democrat Party has never been as ununited as they are right now. President Trump has talked about for years, say what you want about Democrats, but they always stick together. Well, that's not so true anymore. There's been a big change. And Bill Maher is in large part responsible for that. I mean, no doubt about it. By the way, spectacular rally last night with President Trump in South Carolina. And, I'm going to see President Trump here in Florida next weekend, next Saturday. And, that rally last night, was that the shortest Trump speech ever? Because it was just about an hour, right? An hour? I looked, I was like, whoa. And my guess is that it was the weather, right? I mean, it was pretty cold there. And, and I was watching on Right Side Broadcasting, and they were talking about how the weather was really, really bad. And even the girl from Right Side Broadcasting, she says, I wish I was at home watching Right Side Broadcasting and watching the rally at home, because it's so cold. It's so cold here. But you know what? I like that rally, even though I believe it may have been. It's cold here in Florida this morning. Let me see what the temperature is right now. I checked when I woke up, but that was 2.5 hours ago. Let me see what the weather is at my house right now, if it's the same. Let's see. Oh my goodness. It's now I'm in sunny South Florida. It is 49 degrees at my house right now. 49 degrees. That is very, very cold for Florida. 49 degrees. Oh, my goodness. Oh, man. I haven't been out of the house today because I knew it was cold. But 49 degrees. So I can only imagine what it was in South Carolina, because it's colder in South Carolina than it is here in sunny South Florida during spring break, when the beaches are filled with drunken college kids. But, I'll say, though, that rally, I kind of, what do you guys think about the shorter speech? It was an hour and 5 minutes, maybe an hour, and I thought it was very, very good. And one of the reasons it was so good is it was a tighter speech. I think he knew, President Trump, that he was only going to go the hour when he started, because he wrapped it up at the end. And I was like, wow, he's wrapping it up already? Because I was expecting a 2.5 hour event, right? I mean, I just figured that was it, and then it was going to be, very late, but the weather. But do you think he should do more hour-long speeches, or keep them at the 2 hour, 2.5 hour? Because the people that go, that spend the whole week preparing or all day, maybe they want it to be longer because they put so much effort in getting there. But as a viewer on television, an hour, I think, was I don't know. I gotta process it because I'm really not quite used to Trump doing an hour-long speech. But I don't care if he talked for 60 seconds, it would be spectacular, wouldn't it? Oh my goodness. My favorite part, was it 2 hours? Was it 2 hours? No. Was it real? The speech last night was an hour, wasn't it? It started around 7, right on time, which I wasn't expecting it to start right on time. And I think it ended just after 8, didn't it? Oh, you would rather have a 2-hour speech? It's never too much of Trump. Never too much of Trump. Trump can talk for 6 hours. I wouldn't mind. It's 12 on the Ohio River. Well, 49 degrees may not seem cold to you, but if you lived in Florida, I've lived in Florida almost my entire life. These are frigid Siberian Arctic temperatures for us. It was an hour. I thought it was an hour. I thought, hey, wait a minute. But your body changes and your blood thins, and 49 degrees is about as cold as we like it. I tell you guys, I don't even own socks. I got 2 pairs of socks for when I have to dress up and go somewhere. I don't even wear socks. But so Bill Maher, yeah, I'm very happy about this. I read an opinion column in the New York Post with Michael Goodwin. I don't read opinion columns really at all, but the headline of this one grabbed my attention. This is in the New York Post. Biden is letting Putin run the Iran nuclear talks. Really? Isn't this insane? With this embargo, this whole cancel culture that has gone after Russia, Biden is letting Putin run the Iran nuclear talks. Again, like I say, I don't read opinion columns. Do you guys read opinion columns? I'm not too into opinion columns. I know who Michael Goodwin is, and I like Michael Goodwin, and I typically agree with him. But this headline caught my attention, so let's read through this. Some stories make so little sense. This is Goodwin's column in the New York Post. Some stories make so little sense that all you can do is scratch your head. Others are so infuriating that you want to pull your hair out. Then there are those that are so outrageous your head feels as if it will explode. This story provokes all 3 reactions. It starts with a strange little-known fact. Russia is acting as a go-between for the United States in nuclear talks with Iran. Jack, $5 super chat. Thank you so much. And everyone, please thank Jack for that super chat. Thank you. Okay, now, so Russia, that we have an embargo against, right? And all these companies like McDonald's and others are involved in cancel culture against Russia. There has been talk for 2 weeks now about a possible nuclear conflict between the United States and Russia. And according to Michael Goodwin here in the New York Post, Russia is the mediator in our nuclear talks with Iran, who's, by the way, Iran's an ally of Russia. This is insanity. It's hard to even believe, but it's true. Michael Goodwin, back to his column. Michael Goodwin says, okay, it starts with a strange little-known fact. Russia is acting as a go-between for the United States in nuclear talks with Iran. When I first read that, I thought it couldn't possibly be true. With Russia then massing troops on the Ukraine border, I assumed that even the Biden White House couldn't be foolish enough to trust Vladimir Putin to do anything in good faith, or certainly anything in America's interest. Unfortunately, the story was true. And even more alarming, Russia continues to direct the nuclear talks with America's approval, while its army simultaneously turns Ukraine cities into rubble, killing civilians, and creating the largest refugee crisis since the Second World War. I mean, this is why is this not the top and bottom of the hour discussion on every cable news channel? Because Democrats have a free pass to do whatever it is they want to do. In response, the United States and Europe have sanctioned Russia's economy and Putin's cronies. The West is also supplying weapons to Ukraine and helping to care for more than 2 million refugees. Taking care of refugees crossing borders, that seems to be like the main priority of the Biden administration, that and their green crap, right? But shouldn't America also sever relationship with Putin in the Iran talks? Well, I think so. I mean, if you're involved in a hostile relationship with a country that is a war criminal, they're telling us Putin and Russia, they're war criminals now, right? Equal to Hitler. We have sanctions. We have closed down banks. Corporations, American corporations have pulled out. Yet this is our advocate in the Iran nuclear talks. What the hell's going on here? It always defined any meaning of common sense for Biden to believe Putin cares about safeguarding America and our allies, including Israel, in negotiation with the mad mullahs, that's Iran. So now is the time to correct the error. Then he goes on here, the new axis of evil. On the chance that Biden and his team somehow missed the evidence of Putin's nature, Russia's alliance with Iran in Syria and elsewhere ought to have ended any consideration of him as an honest broker. And it goes on, but I mean, what gives? What is the Democrats' obsession with Iran and this nuclear? Why are they so? Really, has anyone really gotten into this? Why? And this started with Obama. Why are the Democrats so obsessed in making deals with Iran? I don't understand. We know about the cargo jets of cash. We understand that. And they want to do another run. I don't know what they're talking about. But to have Russia being the mediator in talks with Iran, between the United States and Iran, with everything that's going on with Ukraine and in the world, I mean, this is just, it's beyond insane. To me, I would say that the Biden regime isn't all that concerned with Russia. Wouldn't you? Is that fair to say that they're not all that concerned with Russia? It seems like they're not to me, or they would not have them do that. It's just very, very, very weird. Just very weird. Don't treat me like a Putin. I don't know what that means, Stefan. I don't know what that reference is. There was an interview with a Russian negotiator for the Iran deal who was bragging about how good the deal is for Iran. Yeah, I saw that the other day, and I didn't pay much attention to it. You know, I didn't realize that they were heading up the negotiations for us. Well, Democrats, they always need, the whole political establishment of both sides always need a crisis. Biden wants anything to blame his failures on besides himself. You know, I don't think Biden, even if he was coherent, right, because he's all checked out, you know, he has never taken responsibility for anything his entire life. He spent his life in the Senate. You know, this is, in the Senate, they don't do anything. They vote yay, nay, or present every once in a while, and that's it. They do interviews, but basically they sit around and drink. I mean, you know, that's basically it. You know, they don't do much of anything. And vice president's the biggest do-nothing job ever created by the federal government. That's saying a lot because there's a lot of do-nothing jobs in the government. And at his advanced age, this is the very, very first time that Joe Biden has been responsible for anything in life. Anything. Imagine, he's had zero accountability his entire life until now, and I would, you know, and he's done as well as Hillary Clinton did the first time she had responsibility in her life. Remember what that was? Benghazi. And look how that turned out. Let me do it like Biden. I'll do the Biden whisper. I mean, let me do that over. And when I do Benghazi, I'll do the Biden. Like the only time that Hillary Clinton had responsibility in her life. Remember what that was? Benghazi. I like when Biden does the Biden whisper. Oh, my goodness. The vice president is also president of the Senate. Yeah, but that's you know, the president of the Senate is pretty much a ceremonial role, except in the rare occasion that, you know, they have to break a vote. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, they want to give more money back to... You know, remember when Trump cut off the Iran deal, John Kerry was traveling the world freaking out. There is definitely an obsession with Iran with the Democrats. I mean, they're really obsessed by it. There's no getting around that. You know, Barr's a real piece of work, isn't he? This is in the New York Post, too. A Trump re-election will not make America great again, says ex-Attorney General Barr. You know, I talked a lot about Barr yesterday, so I won't go into the whole thing. Good morning, everyone. If you're just joining us, welcome. I know the time change has us all messed up. I was going to go, my plan was to go live and start the stream at 6 a.m. Eastern time, but I figured all of you guys were messed up by the time change, so I waited till 7 Eastern to start the stream. Oh, yeah, President Trump looked spectacular last night. He looked spectacular. You know, so Barr here, who, of course, is, part of the Republican establishment rhinos. Do you think Barr ever voted for Trump? I bet he did. I bet he voted for Hillary, and I bet he voted for Biden. Barr, what do you guys think? I would agree. Yeah, there's no getting about it. But, you know, watching that rally last night with President Trump shows that this is certainly very wrong. And, you know, yesterday I got a call from remember the guy that called on the stream? By the way, if you'd like to call in, the number is pinned at the top of the chat. Now, no CNN advertisements here, okay? Ugh. The number's pinned at the top of the chat if you'd like to call in. 561-453-0328. 561-453-0328 if you'd like to call in live here on the stream and talk about anything we've brought up. But that rally last night, when it started, you know, and I heard the crowd and heard everything, and I was surprised. President Trump, I was not expecting him to start on time. I know he's supposed to be out there at 7. He was almost right on the dot. I figured he'd be in closer to 7:30, and my wife and I had to run out to the store to buy dog food, and we kept Right Side Broadcasting on our phone in the car just in case it started, and it started right on. I was like, wow, that's amazing. So we had it on in the car, and then we got home. But, you know, I told Kathy, my wife, when the rally started last night, right at the beginning, you heard the crowd. You know, every Trump rally is historic. No former president, I know he's going to be president again in 2024, but no former president has ever been able to get together a group of people except for former presidents get groups together that are for two things. They get hired to do corporate events, right? And the people there are comped for a vacation or required to go by work, and they pay them a lot of money to go and speak, you know, like the Clinton scam that they've done. Or they do book signings. And they go to a book signing, and a few hundred people show up. You know, maybe there's a line of 100 people, 150 people, and that's about it. You know, and President Trump does rallies whenever he feels like it, even in terrible weather like they had in South Carolina, and tens of thousands of people show up, even in bad weather, rain, hail, sleet, snow, cold. They're there. That's historic. That has never happened before. You know what? It'll never happen again. You know, and no former president has been able to do that, and certainly not a one-term former president. And I'll tell you what, no other candidate, when he was running for president, was able to turn out crowds like that. Not even Obama. You know, they did a lot of things with Obama to put him in front of big crowds, but they weren't there for him. They did one in particular where they claimed was the largest political event in history up to that time. It was I want to say it was in Oregon. I believe it was in Oregon. It might have been in Washington State, but I think it was in Oregon. Obama went on stage and spoke in front of 50,000 people. Well, the secret of that was that they kept from you. It was a free concert, a free music festival, and between sets, they brought Obama up. Those people weren't there for him. That was a pee break for them, or a beer run, you know. And then he did that thing in Germany. Remember, he spoke to thousands and thousands, Obama, in Germany. Remember that? They weren't there for him. There was another free music festival. That one in Germany, oddly enough, was a reggae festival. I guess reggae is big in Germany. At least it was back in 2008. And they brought him up during that. Those people weren't for him. They weren't there for him. And President Trump, every rally he does, sometimes multiple a day, tens of thousands at each one. This is historic. This is the largest, the whole Trump phenomena, and it's still today going strong. This is the biggest political movement in the history of the United States. Some estimated, it was on Newsmax, that his Texas rally was the largest political event in the history of the United States. But the whole movement as a whole, there has never been a movement this large. There have been isolated incidents, like Martin Luther King at the National Mall. That was a one-time thing. And that wasn't a political rally, by the way. That was something a little different. But no, this has never happened with any political figure. And that's why when a lot of us say that, President Trump is the greatest president ever, through all of them, it's proof of that, or that he has the largest political movement in history. And it's been going on for 7 years now. This is right? He came down the elevator in 2015. It's 2022. So this has been going on for 7 years, and it's growing. So it's historic. And that's, when someone like Barr here says Trump being reelected will not make America great again, come on. That's because he's part of the Republican establishment, and they hate everyone at these Trump rallies. They hate you. They hate me. They hate everyone at the Trump rallies. They think we're all a bunch of white supremacist neo-Nazis that are married to our second cousins and first cousins and all this, a bunch of backward people. They just don't get it. They just don't get the whole movement. And I don't know why they don't get it, because it's pretty obvious what's going on here. And that is that Trump has a connection with people, and that he's representative of the people, not a political establishment or donors or anything like that. Hold on, my dog Nina wants out of the room, so I got to walk over to the door. Hold on, guys, hold on. You want out, Nina? Hold on. All right. What do you want, Nina? In or out? Okay. You can stay in. I opened the door and she didn't want to leave. Come on, Nina. You want to lay down? What do you want? Lay down. Okay. The time change has my dog thrown off. She doesn't know what's going on. She doesn't know. She's getting confused. I know, Nina. I know. She's, my routine is off. She's like a clock. Most definitely. Oh man. Yeah, but they don't get it. And they never will. And right now, what do you guys think? Let me know in the chat, or if you're watching later, let me know in the comments. What do you think the biggest problem facing Americans today is? I would say the inflation and the gas prices, which I have something on we'll get to in just a bit. But, there is no one who has held political office that understands how inflation hurts working people more than Donald Trump. And this is one thing that they don't get. And if I were interviewing President Trump right now, like this week, during this phase with runaway gas prices and inflation, this is what I would ask him about. President Trump, in the building industry, in the hotel industry, and in the resort industry, and he grew up with his father on construction sites, and he's had to worry about payroll for some people that are not really the low-income workers, hotel staff and people like that. He understands how a rise in prices affects people that earn regular size incomes or low incomes, because he made payroll. He worked side by side with people on construction sites or people that worked in his hotels, like at Trump Tower and things like this. He has an understanding of how inflation is a major struggle for people that these politicians don't understand because they're all so rich. And if anyone's interviewing President Trump these days, they should very specifically talk about that, as opposed to, going off on things that we've heard. Yeah, groceries are outrageous, April. You go to the store, you spend a couple $100, and you can carry everything in your hands in a couple plastic bags. Your dog thinks you're going to work. My dog knows what time I'm supposed to get up in the morning because her body clock, and she doesn't know that the clocks have changed. Her body clock is still on the old time. So she's a little off this morning. I get it, Nina. I get it. She's like, what is going on? What is going on? They're greedy and corrupt. They are greedy and corrupt, Celeste, and they're out of touch with reality. Nancy Pelosi, Mitt Romney, Biden, these are all millionaires. And they just don't understand how $50 a week increase in the price of something like gas could impact a regular family. And that's like lunch money for the kids. That's, they won't get it. And it's amazing that as wealthy as President Trump is, how in touch and in tune he is with regular people and their wants, their needs, and how things affect. I mean, that's only one of the reasons that the MAGA movement's so strong, but that's something they will never get. Now, I'm sharing this story because, and I've got to do the disclaimer, guys. Okay, for someone that's new that doesn't know me, you got to do this disclaimer. Okay, I am opposed to the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Okay, I want an end to all hostilities in Ukraine, right? Don't you guys? I mean, we're not warmongers. We don't want war, and Putin was wrong to attack. Putin is wrong to continue the war and should pull out immediately. Okay, I've got to do the disclaimer because people, they want to label anyone who points anything out as a Putin puppet and spreading Russian propaganda. I'm not into any of that stuff. But we have an embargo, as do our allies, on Russian oil. The cancel culture has cut off businesses like McDonald's and others out of Russia because of human rights abuses. Okay, there's human rights abuses. They invaded a sovereign country, Ukraine. Well, explain this to me, okay? Explain this story to me. Saudi Arabia has killed 81 in its largest mass execution ever recorded. Really, Saudi Arabia killed 81 alleged criminals on Saturday. This is yesterday. The largest mass execution recorded in the kingdom's modern history. Ugh. Those who were killed had been convicted of a range of crimes, including murder, belonging to a militant group like Al-Qaeda, and backing the Yemen rebels. The executions were announced by state-run Saudi press agency, which did not specify where they occurred. And by the way, obviously we're against murderers and Al-Qaeda and all of that stuff, but there were 81 of them. They included, we don't know what all 80, there's not a list of what the 81 did. The executions were announced by the state-run Saudi press agency, which did not specify where they occurred. The significance of the timing or the method of killing, although the kingdom typically beheads convicts. Most of the slain prisoners were Saudis. The accused were provided with the right to an attorney and were guaranteed their full rights under Saudi law during the judicial process, which found them guilty of committing multiple heinous crimes that left a large number of civilians and law enforcement officers dead. So it goes on and on. Where is the outrage? Where is the outrage to a public execution of 81? We got a guy, he'll be on death row for 18 years. He raped and murdered children, and the media in this country are advocating for him. And they got the Innocence Project after him and everything. And, if this is not, a beheading of 81 in public, where's the media outrage on that one? Exactly. It's nowhere to be heard. We don't need to get into more detail on it, but there's selective, there's very selective outrage, and I got a question too for you guys, if you could answer this, right? So we've got this oil embargo against Russia. Gas prices going through the roof. And Biden tells us that drilling for more oil and making oil more accessible through the pipeline in America will not help the gas supply in this country, the oil supply, and will not help the price of gasoline, right? Increasing U.S. production, and it will not help the price of gas. Isn't that what Jen Psaki says every day at that press briefing? If that is true, why are they trying to increase the supply of gas in this country by bringing in gas from Venezuela and Saudi Arabia? Saudi Arabia likes to behead people. That just doesn't make sense, right? They're trying to. Another one of the hypocrisies. There is not a good war. That is true. That is true. There is not a good war. All wars are bad because people suffer. And I watch a lot of people on YouTube, both in Ukraine and in Russia. I watch Russian YouTubers and I watch Ukrainian YouTubers. And most of these are people that they're like regular vloggers going to restaurants and things like this. And now war is hit and they're talking about how it's impacted both of their countries. And the Russian videos, obviously the Ukrainian videos are about the horrifying events, and the Russian videos are about how the sanctions have hurt them. And, and it's, you watch the people always suffer in wars. These wars are always for the benefit of the rich leadership. The people in every country always suffer. And it's pretty darn disgusting, isn't it? Now, you may have seen that, we have spring break in Florida right now, all the spring breakers. And this story here, they arrested the alleged drug dealer that sold the drugs to those West Point cadets that were here in Fort Lauderdale. Florida cops have arrested an alleged drug dealer. They say sold the fentanyl-laced cocaine to several West Point graduates who overdosed during spring break this week. He's 21. He's being held on $50,000 bail. This is here in South Florida. An undercover police officer, after they had him as a suspect, so an undercover police officer did a buy, purchased 43 grams of cocaine for $1,000, and then they arrested him. He admitted to selling the drugs to the West Point cadets. 4 cadets were taken to the hospital. Of the 6 people involved, 1 person was not taken to the hospital. 1 was not a cadet. 5 cadets in total were involved. 2 remain hospitalized. The school added the incident is currently under investigation. The students have not been identified, and it's unclear what disciplinary action they may face. Okay, one of the things Biden has done is he's brought back fentanyl overdose. Yeah, I know, he does look scary. Could you imagine? Yeah, I know. These pictures are all from our local news here in Fort Lauderdale and in Miami. What I was wondering about this is a very unusual case. We have spring break every year, and there's always crazy crime stories about spring breakers. I've never heard a story involving taking drugs like this involving spring breakers from the military academies. The military academies, this is West Point, you've got to have a congressional appointment to get into these things. Do they have legacy appointments? They may. But these are supposed to be the elite. What possessed these West Point graduates to do illegal drugs? I mean, why would they? Has something changed? Has something changed in the way that the military academies operate? That they've lowered the standards. Are they not drug testing? I don't know. I don't understand what's going on here. These are multiple cadets. We are told that our military academies are the best of the best. These are like Ivy League, but better, like clean-cut guys and girls. Would possess them to think that they could do cocaine and get away with it as a cadet, because don't they expect to be tested for cocaine when they're back at West Point? I thought that was very strange. Things have changed. Yeah, Biden's new military. Yeah. I mean, you would think that if you were in the service at all, especially one of the military academies, but if you were in the military at all, you would stay completely away from any type of drugs, including marijuana, especially in the military academies. But cocaine? Something's going on here. Do they drug test anymore? MJ says standards have dropped in the academies. Macho Dub says they've stopped drug testing. That is hard for me to believe that they have stopped that type of testing in the service. It really is. I don't know. That seems. You can be educated but a fool. Oh yeah, some of the dumbest people I've known have advanced college degrees. Woke military standards. There's something in play here about this, and hopefully some report. We don't have reporters anymore. They don't investigate. They don't ask questions. They just plagiarize each other's stories and pass fake news around. But you've heard these stories of people in the service. Or I remember Tailhook. You hear these scandals of people that are supposed to be the elite in the past, but for a group of West Point cadets to be buying and doing cocaine, something's up with that. Something's up with that. I mean, they must have really, really lowered the standards. And I'm curious, these cocaine cadets from West Point, I'd like to know what members of Congress appointed them. Wonder if they were appointed by Republicans or Democrats, and are they connected political families? I don't know. But hopefully all that stuff will come out. If they were appointed by Republicans, we'll find that out soon enough. I know. Oh man, maybe they don't want to be there. The easy way to get out? I don't think so. That's a big humiliation getting tossed out of West Point. I don't know. I started the stream talking about Bill Maher, how he's turned on Biden. And I don't like this guy at all, Trevor Noah. He's from South Africa, and nothing against South Africans. Elon Musk is from South Africa. Charlize Theron's from South Africa. But he does a political show, and I really don't need to hear someone from another country come over here and discuss our politics and criticize our politicians. That's just doesn't seem appropriate. I wouldn't go to South Africa and start hosting a radio show or a TV show in South Africa criticizing their system and their leaders. I wouldn't even understand it. So I never liked this. That's why Piers Morgan failed on CNN. He got political, and Americans did not want to see a redcoat on TV attacking our country, our ways, and our Second Amendment and everything. But he did bring up something. Trevor Noah rips Biden over the Saudi and UAE phone call. He said this never would have happened to Trump. And if you're not familiar with this, Biden the other day called up the United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia to talk to them about increasing oil production or lowering some prices so they could fill the gap that we're losing from Russia. And Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates both refused to take Biden's phone call. And to my knowledge, this is the first time anyone has refused a call from any president of the United States. Both countries would not take the call. And, why do you think that is? You know why I think? I think it's out of respect for Donald Trump. Remember when Donald Trump went to Saudi Arabia and the king was driving him around in the golf cart? Wasn't that one of the coolest things you've ever seen in your life? That was one of the they should make a movie just about President Trump's trip to Saudi Arabia. That was one of the most exciting things. Hey, Chuck, good morning, good morning. Yes. I know the time change has us all messed up. But this is another example of a leftist being critical and pointing things out about Joe Biden's failures. This is becoming something that was unheard of, now is becoming like very commonplace. That's how much trouble Joe's in. But no, I think they did it out of respect for Trump. The Saudis love Trump. It is, Biden's wife doesn't even take his calls. When someone calls and they say that I have the President of the United States on for the King of Saudi Arabia, they take the call, okay? They take the call. Jeff from Maine, good morning, everyone. Good morning. If you're new here, subscribe. You'll love this channel. I live stream 7 days a week now, and I do take live calls. If you'd like to call in, I do have the number pinned at the top of the chat if you'd like to call in and discuss anything I brought up so far on the stream. 561-453-0328. 561-453-0328. I also take calls during the week, and I upload my podcast here and do all kinds of stuff. Now, of course, I want to take a moment to tell you guys about someone who was at the Trump rally last night in South Carolina, and that, of course, is the Thomas Edison of sleep, the inventor of the MyPillow, Mr. Mike Lindell himself. And right here, I'm in front of the price with our promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, the lowest price ever on the MyPillow, just $19.98, normally $69.98. And, you know, Mother's Day is coming up, guys. It's coming up, and this is a time to start shopping for Mom. Now, remember, Mom includes your mom, your grandmother, your wife, and if your daughter has children, her too. And you will find great gift items here at MyPillow.com. And, we Mother's Day shop for our mothers at MyPillow.com. These are gifts that Mom will remember and cherish and enjoy for years to come. You know, flowers, they die. Candy, women don't want candy. And I got to tell you, out of all my years, the only Mother's Day gifts that my mother remembers me giving, and I remember giving her, are the MyPillows and the MyPillow products. And the first one I gave her was the MyPillow, and she loved it. And all the other gifts, they're like forgotten. These are gifts they'll remember for years to come. Now, right now, everything is in stock. Mike Lindell is just restocked from Christmas. But as we get closer to Mother's Day, some of the sizes and colors on these different MyPillow products will start to run out because Mother's Day is a big day for MyPillow. And with our promo code KANE, there's a lot of incredible deals, and you really should take advantage of these now. Last year, they ran out of the bathrobes. They just ran out. They're all in stock, all sizes, all colors right now. 30% off with our promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, and they have two different styles, a heavy robe and a lighter bathrobe. This is the one I have, the gray one. My wife has this one. 30% off with the promo code KANE at checkout. Right now, my dog Nina is at my feet sleeping on her MyPillow pet bed. And if your mom has dogs and cats, our dog and our cat love the MyPillow pet bed. We have two of them. 50% off, as low as $19.99. Oh, we got a call coming in. Hey there, hold on. Let me finish the commercial for MyPillow. What's your name?
Mike DiDomenico.
All right, Mike, I'll be right with you. All right, hold on. And, of course, Mom would love the MyPillow My Slippers, which are 50% off with the promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, at checkout. And, of course, there's many other great specials. Mom will love them all. Make sure to use the promo code KANE, K-A-N-E. All right, you're on the stream live. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Orlando, Florida area.
All right.
And I've been a follower of yours for about a year and a half now. Oh. And I have some interest in what's going on in Ukraine since my wife's parents still live in Western Ukraine. And she just can't get her parents to leave.
Even now?
Nothing's happening.
They won't leave now?
They live in the Lviv area, and the father-in-law wants to stay. He says, I got too much invested, so she's a wreck. But also, I just feel that ever since the Afghanistan debacle, that Putin has basically just sat back and been laughing at everything Biden's been saying. Mm-hmm. And I really believe that Biden has been spending too much time talking with Obama, because everything he does seems to be a reflection of what happened in 2014.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and we're getting into deeper and deeper into where we may come to a point of no return, because last night he came very close to crossing the border with those rockets. And would Biden definitely support Article 5?
Well, okay, I talked about this on my live stream yesterday morning on Saturday quite a bit.
I
But
missed it. I missed it, unfortunately.
But I'm going to share this with you. I'm going to share this with you because this is important. Joe Biden and has a very, very vested interest in prolonging the war in Ukraine. They just passed this over $1 billion relief bill for Ukraine, right? The Congress.
Correct.
And they buried in that a whole bunch, hundreds of millions of dollars in things that they couldn't get through in that bill that Senator Sinema and Senator Manchin stopped. And there's going to be a series of relief bills now. This is the first to Ukraine, and they're going to have the entire Democrat agenda in them. Everything they couldn't get passed because of Manchin and Sinema, the Green New Deal, and everything. And what the earmarks. So what Biden and the Democrats are planning on doing is getting their entire agenda through by attaching everything to Ukraine aid, and they can't do that if the war's over. So that they're going to keep, that's right. And for that matter, I'm opposed to the attack on Ukraine and invasion of Ukraine, and it's certainly a criminal act by Putin. However, I don't care what anyone says. Zelensky and the Ukrainian government are also going to personally profit from these monies that are being sent over there, sending to their Cayman and Swiss bank accounts. There's no doubt about it.
Well, I'll tell you, the only thing that bothers me is the fact I'm a Vietnam vet, and I've been arguing. As a matter of fact, a couple of my good friends who are my age, 75, they left Montana a week ago, and they had their weapons shipped to Poland, and they're crossing the border today or tomorrow, and they're going sniper hunting.
Oh, wow.
They're both ex-Marine Corps snipers, and they're just fed up with the fact that women and children are getting killed, and these guys are targeting apartment buildings and everything else.
Well, there's a lot of American men who live in Ukraine, and probably because I no disrespect to your family, but there's a lot of sex tourism kind of thing with these guys. That's why they're over there. Ukrainian women, Russian women, beautiful, and they're older and retired and single, and they're over there for the ladies. But a lot of them are veterans, and they're staying behind. And I read an article the other day, 3,000 Americans and other Westerners who are veterans have been volunteering to go and fight for Ukraine on the ground.
Yeah, I saw a couple of interviews with ex-British Marines that have gone into there already. There was a group of about 15 or 20, and I know that they've interviewed on off of Newsmax and everything. They've interviewed some guys that are over there doing the same thing. Some of them aren't fighting; they're helping as medics and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But and now what is it? Putin wants to bring in Syrians to fight.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as I'm concerned, he brings in the Syrians. We'll bring in some more Westerners.
This is this is bad news all around. This is no doubt about. This is the beginning of World War III. The United States and Russia were never really involved in a military conflict with one another. It was always, they talk about proxy wars, meaning somebody else does the fighting for you. There were always these proxy wars: Vietnam, Korea. Grenada with the Cubans, So there's always been these proxy wars. We've never had a one-on-one, face-to-face with the Russians. And once that happens, it is unpredictable what will happen. I'm a little surprised, as I think the world is a little surprised, as how pathetic the Russian army is. They've lost 3 generals. Generals don't typically die in combat. I know there have been. It's happened. But it's very rare, and Russia's lost 3 generals in Ukraine, which is very unusual.
That's true.
Yeah.
And I sit there because my stepson just got out. He was in Afghanistan and Iraq for 5 years, about 4 different tours, and we were talking on the phone the other day because he lives near Fort Stewart, and he was a paladin commander.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, "Pop," he says, He says our guys out of boot camp are in better shape than the average trained Russian.
Oh, yeah.
He says they really are. He says, and even one of our generals said, he says, if it turns out that it's an air war, he says Russia won't last 3 days.
Well, yeah, but, we've been.
But I'm afraid that this guy's going to use. I'm afraid this guy has got something screw loose. My brother said something 3 weeks ago before it even started. He says, Mike, he says, I wonder if he's got some sort of terminal illness that he's hiding from everybody, and he wants to go out in a bang, and that's the scary part.
Yeah.
Well, Brian, that's really
I know
the scary part.
A lot of people talk about that. Putin, I'm not as worried about a nuclear conflict as I was, because seeing how bad the Russian army is, I'm not sure their nuclear weapons are functional, and I'm serious. I don't want to find out, but I don't think they're as much of a threat as we thought. But the thing about Putin, he's going to pull something big. At some point, he's got to have, I watch a lot of YouTubers in Russia, and they're very discouraged in Russia. They know what's going on. They know what's going on, and they know how bad it is, regardless of what the state media does. He needs a victory, and the only way to have a victory is to do something massive. And sadly, that's gonna. And I knew
that's a field nuke.
Yes, I don't know about that. I mean, that would really turn the world against him. And a field nuke. I don't know which way the winds blow over there, but he could radiate his own country. It's too close. It's a border country. I don't think. So I don't know. He could radiate his own troops if he used a field nuke with the radiation and the wind blows. I don't know about that, but he could do a huge
Brian,
something.
I really don't think he cares.
Oh yeah,
honestly,
he does. He cares about himself staying in power.
That's right. That's right. And they were talking about sanctioning the money, right? Mm-hmm. Well, he's not supposedly married. He's got a mistress.
Of course.
Okay, and she and his daughters live in Switzerland.
Yeah.
So I wonder if our government is smart enough to check and see where his money actually is. Is it in his mistress's bank account under her name and not his? And they haven't thought about that yet, because he's got billions of dollars tied up somewhere. And I said that and that's another thing that, because the average American is not stupid like the politicians want to think. We may be a little slow on the uptake once in a while, but once they understand what's going on, this country is not made up of dummies, except for the ones that voted for him.
Yeah. Well, listen, this war is going to last 4 years. Even when hostilities calm down, it'll be back. This is going to be a never-ending war. And we all agree Putin's bad here, but what about Zelensky? Does Zelensky really want this war to end completely? Is he corrupt? Is he enriching himself too, like the Democrats with all these earmarks?
I don't know. I've seen the damage, and I feel bad because Kiev is. I've been to Kiev, and Kiev is a beautiful city. I've also been to Mariupol in Odessa because we toured the whole country a couple of years ago, and it's a beautiful country. And that's when I got to see a lot of it and I'm just sitting there and I'm going, whether they make money or not, it's gonna cost billions upon billions to rebuild everything, and it'll never be the same. So I really don't know. But I do know this. Somebody made a joke about it. We got Trump, who was a businessman. They elected a comedian who turns out to have more backbone than a 40-year politician.
That's true.
But then I never really had high thoughts for Biden. To me, he was also a guy in the background shooting his mouth off.
Yeah,
and
half
lying
drunk.
to everybody.
Half drunk.
Yeah.
Right. That's why he has such cognitive decline. It's years of social drinking all day.
Yeah. And I'm waiting for the Secret Service to knock on my door.
All right, well, you don't need to get into that stuff. Once you start talking that way, I'm going to let him go, because we don't need to get into whatever comes after that. I don't need to know what it is. Sorry, very good call, but I don't need to know the rest of that sentence. Oh, my goodness. Sometimes they keep a caller on just a beat too long. Oh, my goodness. Oh, man. By the way, good morning, everyone. If you're just joining us, we started a little over an hour ago. This time change. My dog is all messed up. She doesn't know what's going on with this time change. I don't know what's going on either, to tell you the truth. Oh, man. No, I know, Michael. That was a very good call. Oh, man. Yeah, the Russian YouTubers, they're talking about the government's going to shut them down over there soon, and it is I'm sure it was fine, Michael, but we still got to be careful. The Russian YouTubers are talking about the government's going to shut them off soon because they can't control their speech, and that's really unfortunate because it is we didn't have views inside of Russia our entire lives during the Cold War, the Iron Curtain. And, what the American and NATO allies are doing and the corporate cancel culture, what they're doing is bringing the Iron Curtain back up so we can't see what's going on inside Russia. And I think it's important to hear from the Russian people, not shut them off. Doesn't mean that Russia was wrong to attack and invade Ukraine. Got to do the disclaimer again. But having communication inside of Russia that we can see, I think, is helpful. Yeah, right. Yeah, Arizona, you don't change the time. Yeah, well, I wish we didn't in Florida. The repair shop owner and the Hunter Biden laptop, he's talking. Computer repair shop owner who handed Hunter Biden's laptop to the FBI says he has lost his business, is on the verge of bankruptcy as well after liberal intimidation resulted in death threats. His name is John Paul Mac Isaac. Does the guy have enough names? My dog is snoring on the pet bed. Can you hear her? Can you guys hear the dog snoring? I can hear it. I don't know if you guys can hear it on the mic. I can hear her. Oh, my goodness. She is out like a light. She's very old. John Paul Mac Isaac says he since lost his store and now faces bankruptcy after being victimized in an intimidation campaign. Once his findings went public, I was getting a lot of death threats. The owner of the Mac shop in Wilmington said on Saturday, I had to have a Wilmington trooper parked in front of my shop all the time. And it goes on. And this poor guy, this is a Russian Instagram girl who is losing her influence, which is how she makes money because of the sanctions. You can't hear that. Yeah, well, this mic is a directional mic. It's only supposed to really pick up what's right in front of it, and she's down below. So I think I'm hearing with my regular ears, not through the headphones. But here he is. He looks like a character, this guy. But this is how the left operate, right? This is how they operate. You expose them, and that and what do? They want to, as opposed to, they kill the messenger, as opposed to dealing with the contents of the laptop, dealing with everything that's in there. What do? They go out to destroy the messenger, so that other people who have such findings never come forward out of fear that they might have their lives destroyed as well. That's what a lot of that's about. It's to punish him. Believe me, they want to punish the guy, but they want other people to think a little bit before they come forward with anything on a Democrat. It's really amazing to me too how the media get these huge bombshell stories, and the media's immediate reaction is to cover the story up, right? To suppress the story, not cover the story. Yeah, well, you're lucky you can't hear the dog. I can. Yeah, she is snoring up a storm. Now, this is, I'm not going to read the details of this because it's too upsetting, but New York, stay the hell out of New York. Look at this. A 68-year-old woman in New York City was beaten and raped inside a Catholic church by a homeless man who has at least 30 prior arrests dating back to the 80s before she was saved by a hero priest. This is just disgusting. The 68-year-old woman filed a lawsuit against Our Lady of Lourdes Church in Manhattan, the New York Archdiocese, over a 2019 rape case. The victim said the authorities failed to set up proper security at the church. And this guy, Craig Ellis, 30 arrests. He had flashed an older woman at the church before he beat and raped a 68-year-old victim in January 2019. The assault ended when the priest intervened, causing him to flee the scene. I'm not going to read the details because we don't need to see the details. That's the priest that did the saving. And here's the crime spike in New York City. When Giuliani was mayor, they took care of the homeless. They took care of everyone. They took care of when I say everyone, the criminals. And I remember about 15 years ago or so, two things started happening, right? Two things started happening involving Democrats and crime. One of them was they started talking about felons' rights. And then the second one was when George Soros started backing local prosecutors in local elections. And here we are 10, 15 years later, and crime for the last 2 or 3 years has been going through the roof in all liberal cities where these Soros-backed prosecutors are. And they're soft on crime, and that's just it. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I mean, look at this incident here in Florida I was talking about earlier with those West Point cadets. It happened, boom, immediately here in Florida, the police do an undercover sting, and they got the guy in custody. And he's being held on bail. He's not out, okay, because we have bail in Florida. And in these liberal cities, it's not so much that the people that live there are soft on crime. They may be, but I think most people are against criminals. It's that these radical lunatics and George Soros have backed the officials that are in charge of law enforcement and prosecuting criminals. And that is what is going on. All right, let's take another call here. Hey there, you're on the stream. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello?
Yes, you're on. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Boise, Florida.
You got to speak up.
My name is Rose.
Rose, speak up,
Hello?
Rose. Yeah, Rose
Yes.
from Florida. Speak up, Rose.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. I'm calling in reference to a few things you were saying. His speech yesterday, President Trump, was amazing.
Yeah, he was.
Just amazing. And I felt very, he was very strong. He looked healthy. He looked like he's on top of the game. But there's one more thing that bothers me, and it's just the fear that I have, is that the next conflict is going to be with China. There's no doubt about it. They're waiting for the right time.
Yeah, Taiwan.
And yes, that's a fear. Not a fear, but I know it's coming, the conflict. And the Democrats know that they're definitely going to lose on if there's any voting.
Yeah.
So what would you do if you're a Democrat and we know they're like, there's no consequences? What would you do to stop this?
To stop what? To lose it? Well, I think this is what. Okay, this is what. By the way, we got a bad connection, so call back another time. I'm going to cut the call short because I can hardly hear you, and I got you turned up all the way. We got a bad. It sounds like you're underwater. See, what's going on here is one thing and one thing only. Joe Biden and the Democrats. I talked about this a lot on the stream yesterday, but I'll go over it again. When Manchin and Sinema stopped that spending bill from passing, the Democrats were in big, big trouble. Big trouble. Biden, Pelosi, Schumer, all of them, in humongous amounts of trouble because they had promised donors a lot of things and they didn't deliver. Okay? And they were as freaked out as John Kerry was when President Trump stopped the Iran deal. So all they care about right now, they're not even really focused on the midterms. I'm telling you, they're not focused on the midterms. They owe these donors all these political money paybacks through the bill, and they're hiding them in the Ukraine relief bill. And like I told the caller earlier, there's going to be a series of relief bills for the Ukrainians that they're going to get their whole agenda through. That's their primary focus right now. They need to satisfy those people. You're buying precious metals? That's right. Well, make sure you buy them from William Youngerman here in Florida. Oh, man. And I'll tell you, I don't usually talk about him on the screen, but I'll show you guys his website real quick. I can't get on. Oh, I just lost my connection. Let me see here. Hold on. I don't usually. There again. There we go. There we go. Yes, this is William Youngerman's website. Buy your metals here. You'll get a great deal. All right, he's not open on the weekends. You can call him tomorrow. There's his number on the screen there, and you will find you'll get the best deals on all the metals that you buy from him. On much better deals than you'll get anywhere else, especially online, because his prices are the lowest there are. I'm telling you, here to tell you that. WilliamYoungerman.com. You hear him do the gold report on the radio every day. And this is his website. And you can go there, WilliamYoungerman.com, or give him a call, 1-800-327-5010, 1-800-327-5010, and you'll be very happy that you did. But that's what is going on here. I'm not going to get too much into this story, not even enough to pull it up, but Disney... Disney's about to get some of the worst PR they have ever had. Yeah, silver is about to hit a major supply shortage. Silver is about to get very, very short on supply all over the country due to people buying it, and also the supply, and also the war in Europe. But without getting into too much detail, Disney is protesting the Republicans here in Florida over this so-called Don't Say Gay bill, and attacking Ron DeSantis. They're not going to make political donations. And people, this is Bob Chapek. He's the CEO of Disney. And no, I am still not on True Social. I don't know. I mean, I've gotten some notifications from them, but I'm still not on. I'm still waiting. I'm starting to get discouraged. I'm thinking, should I try to start another account? Am I ever going to get on? But I'll find out. But a lot of people are pointing out, and I think this is really awesome. They're attacking the great governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis, Disney. And Disney said they're no longer going to make political donations to politicians here in Florida. And let me tell you something. They better not cut off the Republicans in Florida, because they need them for all their zoning and everything that they do all the time. But some people have pointed out, which I think is awesome, they're not just doing business in China. They are partners with China. They have that Shanghai Disney World, and the way things work in China, when a company goes in China, the government has the majority shareholders. So the Walt Disney theme park in China is 51% owned by China, the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party. Disney is a minority shareholder in their own theme park, Shanghai Disneyland. So you're going to have and people are pointing this out, which is awesome, because it's more liberal hypocrisy, more Democrat hypocrisy. Here, this guy's in business and partners with the biggest human rights abuser on the planet because of the size of the population and all. And he's attacking our great governor here, Ron DeSantis. I don't think so. So I love it when these Democrats get exposed and called out. There's a story I wanted to share with you. There's a couple stories here I want to share before I end, but this one is just a mention too. Then I got one that's a little more detailed. All this talk about Red Dawn going on in Ukraine, right, where regular people are taking up against the Russian army, like in Red Dawn, which is a great movie. And this is an article I found this morning in Newsbusters. It's pretty funny. Flashback: the left hated what they called corrupt pro-gun Red Dawn's fight against the Russians. And I remember when I saw Red Dawn, I did not see it in the theater. I don't know. It came out like in 85. I don't know why I didn't see it in the theater. I think that's C. Thomas Howe. Is that C. Thomas Howe? I think that is. But I saw it on cable, and I thought that was just like the coolest movie ever. And I still love that movie. And this is an article about how the left hated Red Dawn. And then they put in here this old Siskel and Ebert interview. And it's really an amazing thing because, they took on the Russian and Cuban army, and they were winning. Wolverines, that's right. Wolverine. And everyone's talking about how this is exactly what's going on in Ukraine right now. And there's some truth to that. And this article is pretty interesting. I'm not going to read it for you, but you can look it up. I tweeted it. But I'm going to play this for you. This is the Siskel and Ebert review of Red Dawn.
Now,
when it first came out, it was out the same week as Tightrope with with Clint Eastwood. Tightrope, that's not a Dirty Harry movie. Isn't that a separate thing? But this Siskel and Ebert review of Red Dawn is hilarious. I don't remember them being liberal. I mean, I guess they are, and maybe I was just a kid and didn't notice. Listen to this.
Now, in addition to the new Eastwood movie, we're also going to be reviewing the controversial box office hit Red Dawn. A real negative review from me, Gene. I think this movie is corrupt from beginning to end, and one of the problems I have with it is that it makes a very definite political statement. In other words, people should have...
Oh, a political statement in film. We certainly don't want that, do we? Oh, man. The Red Dawn remake was total garbage. Yes, it was.
A review from me, Gene. I think this movie is corrupt from beginning to end, and one of the problems I have with it is that it makes a very definite political statement. In other words, people should have handguns. They shouldn't be registered. The commies will come in and get the handguns. And then what do the teenagers use? Machine guns and anti-tank missiles. Well, that's terrific. Maybe we should have those, too. There is a whole right-wing ideology in this picture that the picture itself doesn't deserve.
Yeah, okay, and that's Newsbusters where I found it. Yeah, you know, a thing about that, you know, because I've seen that movie so many times, Red Dawn. I don't even know how many. I'm sure you've all seen Red Dawn. If you've not, you should see it. It's a great movie. But you know, there's two scenes in that movie, and in the beginning it is about individual gun owners. But there's two scenes in that movie, and there's one that's liberal, that they left out. They didn't see it. They were so outraged. Okay, in the beginning of Red Dawn, when the Russians and the Cubans are in the town, okay, and you see Patrick Swayze in the pickup truck picking up people down Main Street. Remember the one kid? He's like Mexican, and his father's running behind and everything else. Remember all that? There's a scene with the Cuban colonel, and there's the first thing you see is they show a pickup truck. And there's a close-up on the bumper of the pickup truck, and it's got that bumper sticker. You'll take my gun from my cold dead hand. Remember, you've seen those bumpers. You see, this is in Red Dawn, and there's a close-up, and you see that, and then the camera goes down, and then the guy is dead, laying on the ground. He's got his pistol in his dead cold hand, and the Russian colonel the Cuban colonel walks up and takes the gun away from him out of his cold dead hand. So that's a liberal statement right there, showing that it didn't help him, right? It's true. And that's in the beginning of the movie, but that Siskel and Ebert missed that. But then later, there's it's a mix. It was pretty balanced. I think what Siskel and Ebert and liberals didn't like about Red Dawn mainly is it made the communist the aggressors, the bad guys. But there's also a scene in the beginning of the movie. It's the first night. And there's this is in the original Red Dawn, and I'll tell you about the remake, because Hollywood did something to that which is disgusting. But in the first night of fighting, they're in the town, and it's the Cuban colonel again, and this is all in subtitles because he's speaking Spanish. The Cuban colonel goes up to a couple of his men and tells them to go to the local gun store, and he tells them what forms to look for in the files at the local gun store. And it's a gun registry, and it lists the name and address of all the gun owners in the local city, and then go to their houses and track them down. That was right there in that first night in the movie. But both of those scenes in Red Dawn, they give you the liberal perspective and the conservative perspective. It's not as one-sided as you think. The re-education camps at the drive-in, exactly. I know. And if you go back to Red Dawn, you see a little clip at the drive-in when they go there that night, and they're showing a movie talking about trashing America. Well, it's like watching the Democrat National Convention. Now the remake, okay. Now this is what Hollywood, that remake of Red Dawn, which is god awful. I watched it once, and I'll never watch it. It's awful. It had Josh Peck in it from Drake and Josh. The remake was made a couple of years before it was released. And if you've seen that movie, the movie is about North Korea invading the United States and taking over. Well, that's not how the movie was made. When they made the movie, the remake of Red Dawn, it was about the Chinese invasion of the United States, which makes, if you're going to update it, that makes more sense, right? China invading the United States. The whole movie was about the Chinese invasion of the United States. Well, Hollywood was afraid that the Chinese wouldn't like that, and they wanted to release the movie in China. So they went back into the movie with CGI and changed all of the insignia on the Chinese military vehicles and on the soldiers' uniforms, and with CGI changed them to North Koreans. And they did some re-editing and things in the movie to do that. So that's Hollywood is always out there looking to, while they're canceling Russia, to back up China. Just a little trivia there. Now I know we're all friends and fans and everything else of Judge Jeanine, but let me pull this up here. Hold on, let me pull this up. Hold on a second. I got to get this video queued up of Judge Jeanine talking about Biden's Supreme Court pick. All right, so this is Judge Jeanine, and this may be, I'm thinking, this may be the first time I disagree with Judge Jeanine. I can't think of another time I've disagreed with Judge Jeanine, but she's talking, it's a little segment talking about Kamala's humiliating cackle with the president of Poland, and then she says something about the Supreme Court nominee of Biden's, which is that's the part I disagree with, and I think you will too.
Country that she's there to reassure, and then starts giggling like a fool is an absolute embarrassment. And I am sick and tired of people saying it's about color. Let me tell you something. When it came to Condi Rice, nobody questioned her competence.
That's right.
When it comes to the woman right now, the candidate or the nominee for Supreme Court, Ketanji Brown Jackson, there is no one questioning her qualifications. This woman should be questioned. She makes an embarrassment of herself whenever she gets on the world stage.
Okay. Now, there is someone questioning Ketanji's qualifications. His name is Tucker Carlson. And, it's an interesting thing that Judge Jeanine is saying here. Hold on, I got to close this out. Tucker Carlson, he asked for her college transcripts, right? So I think that's on her own network. So I think that is certainly something that should be questioned. And her Ketanji's qualification should be questioned because qualifications were not on the list of requirements for Biden. He wanted to pick a woman who was an African-American woman. So just based on the face of that, her qualifications should be examined and questioned because qualifications were not on the required list of things to get the nomination. I mean, what do you guys think about that? And Judge Jeanine, I don't know what she was, I'm not going to give Judge Jeanine a hard time because I love Judge Jeanine, and, she had a little slip there, but I think if she were here right now and we were talking, she'd say, yeah, you know what, I'll give you that. I think she'd agree with us if she thought about it. I think she just got carried away while she was trying to make a point. You miss drive-in theaters? We still have a very sizable drive-in theater here in South Florida, in Fort Lauderdale. I have not been to it in a long time, but I used to go there when I was in high school, and I had a hatchback, and sometimes I'd have 2 or 3 of my friends hidden in the hatchback, and so stupid. I would drive into the drive-in. I was the only person they could see, and I'd have 2 or 3 people hidden in the hatchback, covered up, so we didn't have to pay. It's kind of ridiculous, but we still have a drive-in here. Yeah. Not been to in a long time, and I wanted to take my daughter so she could have that experience. Yeah, they show new movies. Yeah, our drive-in shows new movies. Oh, you have one up in the Ocala, Orlando area too, Chuck? Great. Yeah. Well, maybe we have them because we've got year-round drive-in weather. Well, this is what I'm doing on the weekends. I'm glad you like the format here on the weekends. This is what my weekend streams are like. And again, I do take calls. You heard some calls on the stream. The number is pinned to the top of the chat. Make drive-ins great again. Oh man, I had when I was 11, I had something crazy. I'll get back to the news in a minute. I had something crazy happen in a drive-in here in Florida. I was 11 years old. And I remember how old I was because my dad took me to the drive-in with a group of his friends. Let me see what year it was, because when I tell you the name of the movie that my dad took me to see, let me see if I was 11. Let me see. I'll tell you the name of the movie in just a second. Hold on, and then I'll tell you what happened. Let's see here. No, I was 10. 10. 10. Because this movie came out in 1981. My dad took me to the drive-in with a group of his friends. They had like 3 or 4 cars, and it was Porky's. My dad took me to see Porky's at 10 years old. Can you imagine? You guys remember Porky's? Oh, man. Yeah. So my dad took me to see Porky's with his friends at the drive-in, and my father went to I just looked up what year Porky's came out, 1981. So my dad went to the concession stand, and he asked me what I wanted, and I told him what I wanted, and I forgot something. So he had already left, so I ran. If you don't know Porky's, you don't get why that would be crazy. But, I mean, Porky's, look it up online. It's pretty crazy. So my dad went, and I forgot to tell him something I wanted. And, it was a different world in the 80s. So I ran to the concession stand to catch him. And I ran between 2 cars. What do you think happened? When I ran between 2 cars at the drive-in. This would not happen at the drive-in today. What happened? I ran between 2 cars, full speed, 10 years old. This would not happen at the drive-in today. Well, the cord for the speaker caught me in the neck, because this is back when you had to put the speaker, it was on a cord, and you'd pick up that big speaker and hang it on your window. And the cord was the same height as my neck. And I ran full speed, hit it, and I don't even remember it. Next thing I knew, I woke up. My dad had a pickup truck. I was in the back of the pickup truck lying down. It was like I got clotheslined. And I had for about a month this burn mark across my neck from the speaker wire. That's insane. Oh my goodness. A&W, exactly. It was not funny at the time. It did. I woke up and it still hurt, and I couldn't talk for a while. But it might as well have been behind the green door. Porky's was just one step. Yeah, Lassie. Exactly. I don't even know if I got that joke back then, but I went to see it. Yeah. It wouldn't happen today because they don't use those speakers you listen on the radio. I know. Well, that's what happens when you take your 10-year-old to go see Porky's, Now, this here, this is something here. This is the liberal talk show hostess, Stephanie Miller. She's got this MSNBCer on, Glenn Kirshner. He says, we have enough evidence and time for the Department of Justice to step up and prosecute Trump criminally. Oh, my goodness. For what? What are they going to, let's see here. Let's see if I can, whatever. They're calling him a Putin puppet, blah, 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 blah. This fantasy that they have of prosecuting Trump is, they're never going to let this go. I mean, this is like the liberal dream. They have this liberal fantasy that, Trump's going to be in jail. He's going to be in an orange jumpsuit. There has not been a man that has been investigated more deeply than Donald Trump. I mean, they have looked into every aspect of his life, at his family's life, at his kids' life. They got nothing, and they're still talking about, they're a bunch of Ahabs here, the great white whale. They're going to get him. There was one story, though, I wanted to share before I go. Let me scroll down and find it. Hold on a second here. It's just backing up. This isn't the story I was looking for, but 4,000 earmarks worth $10 billion slipped into the $1.5 trillion spending package. Yeah, that's what they do. But hold on, I was looking for this story. Hold on a second, I'll find it. Oh, okay. This here. Okay. There's a poll around. New poll shows a majority of Americans are okay with high gas prices. Okay, new poll shows a majority of Americans are okay with higher gas prices. And have any of you seen these stickers on gas pumps in your area? I have. And in some states, this is illegal. So I would not do that. I don't know if it's illegal in Florida or not. But there's this new poll out, which is Quinnipiac. Yeah, Quinnipiac poll that shows 3/4 of Americans questioned about the oil embargo. 3/4 of Americans agree that even with high gas prices, cut Russia off. So there's what they're promoting this as is in this Quinnipiac poll, 3/4 of Americans are fine with high gas prices. I went through the poll, and right here they tell you 3/4 of Americans questioned. When you're doing polling and you're doing scientific polling for political issues, there's 3 types of sample sizes that you poll from, right? Americans, registered voters, and likely voters when you're doing a thing on a political poll like this. The most scientific are likely voters. Likely voters are defined as people that are registered to vote, voted in the last 2 election cycles, and tell the pollster they're going to vote in the next election. That's the most scientific of all. Anything less, registered voters or Americans, always lean left and are not scientifically accurate. The second one are registered voters. It's more accurate than Americans, but not scientifically accurate because people could be registered to vote and never vote. And the least scientifically accurate poll are polls of Americans. They may not even be registered to vote. They may have never voted. And whenever the media are looking for a poll to produce a result that benefits Democrats, they always go to a poll of Americans because that's people that don't even follow the news. They don't even know what's going on. So those polls lean to the left like no one's business. They lean to the left so much it's almost going to capsize the poll. So believe me, no one who drives a car and buys gas is happy about gas prices. I was talking yesterday, nothing brings the American people together like high gas prices. Nothing. Black Lives Matter and MAGA are together against high gas prices. Okay, that's true. It's true. It sounds extreme, but everyone's against it. This poll is the biggest lie, and this goes into the fake news. The story with this poll isn't what the poll says. The story should be is Quinnipiac credible to put out a poll like that, and the news media putting out a poll like that. That's just a lie. That's a nonsense poll that is proof positive that what President Trump says is true, that the news is fake news, and that's all they got. The story, if you're a real reporter, you go out and find out what is up with this poll that could come up with something that is insane. Who are they polling here? Tesla owners, people in New York City that don't own cars? I mean, I saw a story today that Uber Eats is going to start adding a fuel surcharge to food deliveries to people's houses. So even if you don't own a car and you're doing Uber Eats, you're going to be hit by it. Now, listen, if you're new to my channel, please subscribe, all right, if you don't mind. And everyone else, make sure you like the video. And also, if you could do me the extra favor of clicking the notification bell. I upload a lot of content at this channel. I live stream 7 days a week, taking live calls on the stream 7 days a week, Monday through Monday. And I also upload a lot of other content here, too, including my podcast. I'm going to the private ticketed Trump event next Saturday. I'm going to vlog that, and I'll upload the vlog on this channel. And I put a lot of content on this channel. So if you follow news, politics, and the issues, if you're a lover of President Trump, you're going to love this channel. And if you don't love Trump, if you watch me for a week or two, you will, if that long. All right, I'll wake you up to that. So make sure you subscribe if you're not. Like the video and click the notification bell. I'm going to take off, guys. Thanks for joining me. And I'll see you next time, all right? Take care.